The Whispering Portrait. There was once a young girl named Clara who lived in a small old house at the edge of a forgotten village. The house had been in her family for generations, but it had always felt wrong. The walls seemed to creak at night, and the air was thick with an eerie silence. Don't look at the portrait in the hallway after dark. It's been there for as long as we can remember. And it's not just a painting, Clara. It has eyes. Clara, being curious and a little skeptical, nodded and tried to forget about the warning. But the next evening, when the house grew quiet and the shadows stretched long, Clara found herself standing in front of the portrait. It was an old painting of a woman with piercing eyes, dressed in a dark gown. She had a faint, almost imperceptible smile on her lips. Just as Clara stared at the portrait, she heard something, whispers, soft and distant, but they seemed to come from inside her mind. The voice was familiar, almost as if it were calling her name from a place deep within the painting. Her heart pounded, but her curiosity pushed her forward. Slowly she took a step toward the portrait. The whispers grew louder, urging her on. With trembling hands, Clara reached out and touched the cold wooden frame. The moment her fingers made contact, the whispers stopped. The room went silent, but something was different. The eyes in the portrait, they had moved. Now they were staring directly at Clara. Clara froze. She tried to pull her hand away, but it was as if the frame was holding her in place. Her breath caught in her throat as the woman in the portrait began to shift. Her smile stretched wider, too wide, almost as if it was ripping her face apart. With a violent tug, Clara pulled her hand away and stumbled back, her heart racing. The whispers came again, louder this time, angrier. Clara ran, not daring to look back, and bolted into her grandmother's room. But when she opened the door, there was no one inside. The bed was empty. The room was cold, untouched. The only thing there was the portrait, hanging now in the middle of the room. The woman in the portrait was smiling. Now, as you lie in your bed tonight, remember, if you hear a whisper in the dark, it might not just be the wind.